Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Damron with Trash Ass Gamers, bringing you another veteran Elder Scrolls Online dungeon guide. This is for Fungal Grotto 1. Fungal Grotto 1 is arguably one of the easiest dungeons to run in the game. This dungeon will probably not give many of you very much trouble, but I am making veteran dungeon guides for all the dungeons in Elder Scrolls, as well as the other veteran content. So if you're waiting on a particular dungeon or something, just bear with me while I get all these done and uploaded. It does take a good bit of time to make these videos. So I will fast forward through the ads to speed these videos up, but I will keep these dungeons complete so you know exactly where I am and how I got there if this is your first time through the dungeon. So our first enemy boss coming up is Tagzad the Pack Master. He does have some Durzog with him. I guess he's mastering that pack, but he's not really doing much else. There's an archer back there with that conical attack. That's not an actual boss attack. He doesn't really particularly do too much that's going to really harm you if the tank holds aggro. He does a little small AoE as he spins around with his dual wield one-handed axes, but he's very, very, very weak. His attacks don't do much damage. And as long as the aggro holds on to him, the light and heavy attacks are really not anything to even talk about. So wipe him up, and I'll meet you guys at the next boss. Alright, so next up, War Chief Ozaze. He's also not too bad. He does have a heavy attack that can really do quite a bit of damage if the tank loses aggro for a second. So if you see him charge that up and he happens to be facing your direction, roll dodge that. Now, the second thing he'll do, that's the heavy attack that he just did, and he will basically dash to an enemy as well, which you saw there. Now another thing he'll do is this AoE. He'll randomly target a player to surround an AoE around that player. Now the player that has that AoE around them doesn't need to worry. It's not for them. It's for really other players. If any other player is inside that AoE, when it explodes, which is when the end of its radius gets to maximum, it'll cause damage to that player. That's really the only thing you need to worry about. Other than that, he's pretty weak. Just hammer down the DPS and let's get moving. Alright, now I will say up in this area you can actually jump off the bridge and skip all these bosses if you just want to run to the final boss, which is what a lot of people do when they're just running the Undaunted daily. But keep in mind, if you want to do the speed run achievements or the no death achievements or anything related to the Vanquisher or Conqueror of this dungeon, you do need to kill these two bosses that are staying up on top. And the first one is the Brood Birther, who is obviously a large Drew. He doesn't actually birth anything during the fight, so don't worry about that, but he does have some Drew around the area that he will call in to assist him. So that's not too bad. Just have the tank stack them up and keep doing the damage. He will do a conical attack where he kind of slashes his arms forward, and that will damage, as you see there, anybody that's in the range of that conical attack. So it's good to have the tank just have him face the wall, which I believe the tank will do here in a minute. That kind of just keeps everyone out of that potential damage. Also, he will randomly just pull a player closer with his antenna. He'll just turn around and grab them sort of with lightning and suck them in. But he won't stay aggroed on them as long as the tank is continuing to taunt them. Other than those few attacks, nothing to worry about, as is this whole dungeon. Just keep bombing on, and let's get to the next boss, which is just up here, called Clattercaw. Clattercaw has a bunch of crabs that he likes to bring into the fight with him. And if you're not quick about taking them out, the cumulative damage that those little guys can hit you with can actually hurt you. See, I had run forward a little bit prior to my dudes joining me, and I, almost died here. So keep that in mind. The cumulative attack of all those little guys can cause damage. Now, Clatterclaw himself doesn't really particularly do too much. He just kind of does light and heavy attacks with his claws to whoever he has aggroed. They don't particularly cause that much damage, so now that our tank has finally joined us, I can stop somehow being a Stand Blade tank, which is not generally a good idea. But in this dungeon, it's okay. Just murder down Clatterclaw, and we'll be on to the final boss of this dungeon. That's how easy this dungeon is. So let's go ahead and read our scroll to go into hard mode, and we will be fighting Krog, the Drew King, who is obviously an enlarged Drew King. He's also not too bad. Now, there is an attack which I will show you that can kill you in one shot if you don't have a lot of health. I'll show you that, and that's this attack right here, but I'll show you what happens if you stand into it, because I got to keep it trashy for you and bite one of those bullets for the team to demonstrate the damage that that attack can do. But for the most part, you don't really have to worry. He will keep his antenna slash attacks on the tank, so you don't have to worry too much. Now, if he loses aggro and he starts hitting with you, they really honestly don't even hurt that much. But that AoE that he does can really hurt. So you definitely want to be out of that when that goes off. So you'll see me make sure you're going to be completely out of that circle, and the lightning kind of strikes down, and whoever's in it other than the tank will probably die. Now, he will spawn some little guys in the fight to help him, but don't focus your attention on them. Just keep your damage on Krog, and they'll basically die from the AoEs you lay down. You really don't need to focus any of your attention on the ads. Just maintain focus on him. This hard mode is a joke. Just beat him up, finish him off, and we'll talk about the monster set at the very end. And that's what happens when you're a trash ass gamer. You die sometimes. I can't remember the last time I died from this guy, but of course when I shoot the video that's gonna happen. But pick me up, I'll get in there and execute him, and pick up this monster helm so we can talk about that. So the dungeon again is very easy. You guys shouldn't have too much trouble with this dungeon. One of the easier dungeons in the game. But he's going to drop the cross set, which is going to give you additional physical penetration as well as the chance to spawn Drew limbs that create shockwaves in front of you, similar to the ones that they do with their conical attack. But it doesn't do that much damage, so it's not used a lot. So I hope this guide helped you guys. If you like these kind of videos, feel free to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.